Hey everybody, so I wanted to share another open source tool with everyone. So this is going to be a tool for file integrity monitoring. So the goal here is to be able to check basically the history on files so you know if they've been modified or not. So this can be really important on mission critical files so you can see if they've been tampered with. But it also can be important for config files, right? Just checking, hey, has this config file been changed since the last time I read it? So there's basically two components to this. You have a file monitor service and a log viewer. So the service is basically GUI-less, and this is meant to be run as a Windows service. I have a separate video if you're interested in services in LabVIEW on how to deploy a LabVIEW exe as a service. This is kind of how this is meant to be used, so it's not specific to users, and as soon as the computer kind of powers up and the operating system boots, this thing will just start running automatically and monitoring files. Don't want to worry too much about this, but yeah, basically we're just registering and then a bunch of directories, and this does use the file watcher library that's available on VIPM, sorry, not NIPM. And we're basically just creating a local database. So this uses a SQLite library as well from JDP Science, which is also available on VIPM. So we're just creating this file monitor.db. And if this is a new file, we're going to create some initial tables. So we have a history table and a errors table. And yeah, all of this is just registering to changes in these certain directories. And then basically it's just looking at changes. So we are seeing, hey, what's the change type? Was a file created, deleted, changed, renamed, etc.? And then we're inserting into that history table a record based off of what happened, what time did that happen, and we're also recording the hash of the file. We're creating a separate table that's unique to each individual file that we're monitoring. So you get a history table. It's basically the history of every file that's being monitored, and you get a specific table for each individual file. So you can kind of break things down either way. So yeah, we're just inserting that into that history table, and then if the table doesn't exist, we're going to create the table and then insert into that table. And then any errors as well, we're logging in this errors table. So if any errors do occur, we're just logging them there. And that's pretty much all that the service is doing. And like I said, this is meant to be run as a service. We also have this log viewer. So this is going to be your GUI. You can install this as like an exe on your computer and have like a little shortcut on the desktop. But this is going to be your viewer of everything. So right here, this list box is going to populate with all of the tables in your database. And this right here, as you select tables, is going to populate with the data in those tables. You have some buttons here. So flush database is just going to dump all of the data so you can start fresh. So if you've been monitoring files for a while and you no longer care about the history on those, you can flush it. Export results allows you to export to Excel. Refresh tables will just refresh to see if anything's changed. And directories will pop up a dialog so you can select which directories you want the service to monitor or not. I did also add this field down here so you can enter custom SQL queries to execute on the database. So if there's something that's not mapped by these functions, like let's say I want to truncate a specific table and not flush the whole database, I can go here and type in my truncate SQL and execute that on the database. So let's look at what this looks like. So we have we're basically just connecting to this database and pulling all of the tables out. So this is our query to read all of the tables. And you can see there's still some to-dos. This is still a work in progress, so you can take it and use it as is, but I still am actively developing this a little further, but it does work in the meantime. Let's go to the top. So if I select a table out of that list box, we're going to do select all of the data from that table, and we're going to write to this multi-column list box the column headers and the item names. So all of the data and its column names in the database. And then this function here is just resizing the columns in the list box to fit the data. So that way, varying lengths, it'll just automatically resize to fit. Our flush is going to just delete our database file and recreate it and create the history and error tables for us. There's no data in them now, but they do exist, so we can start logging some more. Refresh, we're just going to requery and see if anything's changed. Export, we're just pulling that data, writing it to a CSV file, and then opening that file in the default viewer. SQL, if you click, so right now it has that enter custom SQL here. This mouse down is just deleting that out when you click on it, so you don't type in front of or in your enter custom SQL here. And then if you actually exit out of this enter custom SQL here box, this will actually execute that SQL. And our directories. So this is going to launch this dialog where you can go and select which directories you want this service to be monitoring. So I can select any amount of folders that I want, and it will monitor all of those for me. And it loads it into our config file that says, hey, monitor these files. So that's pretty much it. And you basically get a GUI and service that'll monitor all of your files. You can see what happened with those files, so where they changed, renamed, deleted, created, etc., what time that happens. You get the date and time, and also the file hash, so you can see it if the file hash is changed and when, and all of that. And this is all free, open source. If you want to use it and it's beneficial, go ahead and use it however you want. And as I mentioned, this is still in active development. It is fully functional in its current state, though. So working on just adding some additional features for being able to sort and filter test results and stuff a little better. But for the most part, this is pretty much ready to go. And this satisfies a lot of requirements of like NIST 800-171, where we need to be able to monitor files to see if they've been tampered with. So now you have a custom solution that's LabVIEW based, that you can modify as you need to make it work in your specific use case. There are a lot of enterprise tools that do similar stuff. This would be a fully LabVIEW built one for doing this. If you're interested, the link to the repository is in the description for the video, and you can run wild with this and do whatever you want. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Canon Controls is your gateway to mastering LabVIEW. Dive into programming for data acquisition, industrial communications, and manufacturing automation. Explore how to enhance your projects with cybersecurity best practices. Join the journey to elevate your skills and secure your systems with every episode.